Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled People. In today's episode, entitled fellow took a handicap spot and was so proud of himself. You drive a Maserati so parking rules don't apply. Entitled neighbors think community common area is their own off-leash dog park. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Entitled fellow took a handicap spot and was so proud of himself. I was going to park in a handicap spot. I have a placard due to mobility issues, and before I could pull in, another car takes the spot. No big deal since I was feeling okay today, so I parked a few spots down, got my walker out, and was walking by the offending car. As I'm walking by, someone shouts, "I took your spot, old man," and laughed. I'm 52. His friends in the car laughed too. I looked up and it's my rich, entitled nephew. He didn't recognize me and he has a small Toyota car which didn't stick out to me at all. The look on his face once he realized it was me was priceless. We have a family get-together next week, so this could be fun. Update. Thank you everyone for the great ideas and taking the time to read. As it turns out, the family event was moved to my home, which was great. My nephew and his family show up noticing the handicap spot I drew with chalk in my driveway. His father asked why I had a handicap spot in my driveway, and I told him to look at it again, and he noticed his son's name. He asked why his son's name, and I told him to ask his son. After they had a stare down and awkward silence, his son actually told him the whole story. His dad was furious. My nephew spent the whole time at my house. They were here about 4 hours, doing my yard work and helping my wife, not spending time with anyone. My nephew will now be stopping by every week for the rest of the summer, probably about 10 weeks total, to do my yard work. I really need the help, so I'm glad his dad stepped up to let his son know this wasn't right. I've got popcorn on standby for this update. I had no idea where it was going, and this was better than I expected. Sometimes I don't know how people go through life being so rude and ignorant. The other day I was at a gas station. An elderly fellow was waiting for one of the pumps to become available. He was waiting for quite a bit of time, then one pump finally became open. He started to slowly creep towards it, and some young fellow, in his 20s probably, dashed to the pump with his big enormous truck, then flipping the old guy the double bird. Much like your nephew, he must have been so proud of himself. Hopefully karma pays them a visit sooner rather than later. And, BTW, 52 years old is not old. To some of the young people, perhaps, but it's not old at all. Blue heart, blue heart, blue heart. Oh, please tell me you're going to congratulate his parents for raising a child who parks in disability spots and mocks the disabled person who was going to use the spot until he cut in ahead of them. Great idea. I wonder where entitled nephew learned to be so entitled. Does he have a placard? You should have called the cops. That's a hefty ticket. As a member of the cops, I fully endorse and recommend this. I have zero tolerance with these. As a way older than you mobility issues walker user, I think this is awesome. You have some potent dirt on that kiddo. Dinner conversation. These kids these days are spoiled brats, but not my nephew Billy. I bet if I asked him to wash my car for me, he would skip dessert to go do it. Wouldn't you, Billy? Whatever seat he's in at your gathering, when he gets up, sit in it. Every time he gets up. Karma's a bitch and she's throwing boomerangs. Perhaps a short chat with the kid's parent? If it was my kid, he would be walking for a few weeks. You drive a Maserati so parking rules don't apply. I was walking into a grocery store and saw a woman stuffing balloons into a Maserati that was parked in the fire lane right in front of the store. It always bothers me when people park in fire lanes, but something about this particular circumstance inspired me to say something. So as I walked past, I said very loudly, "That's okay, just park wherever you want." She gave me a dirty look and mumbled something. I just smiled and continued into the store. Edit: what I'm seeing from the responses to this is that this sub is for entitled people, not just about them. Do y'all realize you can get ticketed for parking in a fire lane? Dad was a fire truck driver. Aside from running hoses that leak through broken windows, he loved to push cars out of a fire lane with the front of the big red truck. BC, that's how they move you in an emergency. Personally, there is no bigger than one that knowingly blocks emergency vehicles, even if there is current emergency. You still think you're more important by parking there. I've seen videos of fire engines crushing vehicles, including a Ferrari, parked in emergency vehicle areas, one in front of a hospital. I love seeing justice like this meted out to the deserving. I was leaving grocery store one day and had a driver almost hit me because he thought the stop sign didn't apply to him because it was in the parking lot. He started yelling at me and I kindly reminded him that there was a stop sign there and I, the pedestrian, had the right of way. Be careful. Years ago, I made a comment like this as I was driving by a fire lane and this middle-aged looking guy jumped in his car and followed me to my parking space, got out of his car and got right in my face yelling at me. For what eats with I'm female. I thought he was going to put hands on me and I immediately said, don't touch me. In that moment I think he saw reason and thankfully backed off. You just never know what level of crazy you're dealing with. Entitled neighbors think community common area is their own off-leash dog park. I live in a townhouse community. The cluster of buildings I live in has an open common area with grass and a few small trees. A couple of women that are joined at the hip have been treating that common area as their own off-leash dog park. Our city has strict leash laws and it is against the rules of the community to have your dogs off-leash. I have a reactive rescue. I fully acknowledge that her reactivity is my problem and no one else's. We get up by 4 a.m. to take a walk in order to avoid other residents having their dogs out. When my dog needs to go out the rest of the day, we pause at our gate to make sure the coast is clear and wait if it isn't. I always tell whomever is out there to not rush, we will wait. I have been working with my girl and got her to the point that she wasn't reactive towards those neighbors' dogs, as long as they stayed at their end of the open area. Well, a few days ago, those dogs were about halfway to my end. I thought it would be okay and commenced taking my dog to do her business. We get off our deck and start going to a different grass area, when all of a sudden those other dogs come charging. I yell at them to go home. I think my yelling shocked them. They stopped just short of us. I was pretty shaken, take my dog to get her business done and watch carefully that the other dogs were no longer in the area, and we get back inside. And now years of working my dog just went down the toilet. I got myself calmed down. I suffer from extreme anxiety, texted my husband and son, they advised to call animal control, so I did. While animal control is talking to the neighbors, one of them starts screaming across the complex for me to come outside. No, I will not acquiesce to someone screaming at me. After animal control leaves, the screaming one comes to my gate and tries to demand I come outside. My other son says, no, she tries to say the dogs just wanted to play and I should not have called animal control. I guess I was supposed to try to find out what their motivation was prior to panicking. One did have its hackles up. I do see that I made the for calling animal control, but again, extreme anxiety, and people that know they are breaking laws and rules, are not generally the most open to being told to keep their dogs under control. It is not my job to tell other people that the rules apply to them too. So anyway, they are now attempting to turn all the neighbors against me. I would move, but I don't want to, shouldn't have to and cannot afford to. And reading Reddit, entitled people are literally everywhere, so it would be changing one bad place for another. Contact management. My development had the same issue and after enough complaints, they made a nice little dog run. Management and the board are aware of them doing that. They are useless and worthless. There is close by an enclosed tennis court that does not get used for tennis and people have been taking their dogs there, which is great. I've taken mine when it was unoccupied. There is even a waste station in there. Fully fenced. I would frame the contact as the women's dogs tried to attack you/yours. and imagine if they charged a child and couldn't be recalled. Potential lawsuits like this always get businesses to deal with things. Wow. You did them a favor. Having a reactive dog isn't an easy issue, and your dog could have attacked their dogs. Do they not understand that? I'm so tired of people having dogs loose and yelling it's okay, she is friendly. Guess what? My dog isn't friendly, and if your off-leash dog runs up to him, he's probably going to attack it. There was no probably with mine. He would definitely attack the off-leash dog. He tried several times. I managed to get him out of there, but it was a close one. There are leash laws for a reason. Screw those neighbors. I can't stand irresponsible pet owners. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.